Okay, so now we're ready for the next part, and this will be a little more time consuming. And this is the 4 tone boards. There's actually 3 tone boards, and one is a Dolby board, but it doesn't really matter. 3 of them you'll be able to get to from the bottom. One will have a specialized section showing you how you remove it, because you cannot get to it from the bottom, and you'll have to remove the tuner string. But I'll show you how to do that without messing it up. Basically, being able to pop it off, keep it in place, and then put it back on. So what we have here is, as I've shown you before, line up all of your parts first, so you know. The primary changes on these boards is the capacitors, and some of them get the electrolytics. Some of them, especially the blue blobs, as we call them, the tantalum caps, are going to get replaced with the WEMA non-polarized caps. I have them broken out by their UF ratings. The 2 transistors, those are the only 2 transistors you're going to change, and they are on the Dolby board. And if you have a Dolby board, you should. And basically, the top WEMAs there, the 1UF, these are, let's get a close-up on that. If I can get the camera to focus. Well, basically, they are 0.22, and this is a 0.47. And that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the transistors. I'll give you some shots of that also, especially when it comes to, pointing out the blue blobs. But then we'll really focus on getting the, and I'll move the camera over here. Let me get this moved. We'll focus on how we do this board, where you actually have to pick the board up. There's 4 screws, but I'm going to show you how you can keep from losing this and simply get it moved out of the way. The other ones, as I said, we'll get from the bottom. When this is done, we'll move on to the main caps and the power amp board. But oh yeah, and let's not forget the Phono board. That'll have its own section. I'll try and put I'll try and put the tuner boards and the Phono board in the same video, because as I said, since I'm not going to be doing step-by-step how do you replace a capacitor, it would make sense to put it all in one video. But I do want to point something out. As I said, you align all your parts first. Whatever you take out of the board is what you want to use. You can't guess at this and just take them all out and put them in. Your best bet, desolder one, put the right one in place, bend the legs, and if you want to solder it all later, that's fine, but get them in place. Pay very close attention to what you take out, because it would be very easy to lose track and go, oh, what do I do? Now, the recourse on that is you go, as we've stated before, to the service manual, but just trying to make your life easier. So let's talk about identification of your tuner boards. You've got a tuner board here, a tuner board here, and your tuner board there. And this Dolby board counts as a tuner board because it's Dolby FM. Your Phono board is here, and that'll be later on. But these are the 3 that we're going to recap on the Dolby board. We're going to change the little blue blobs, and see if I can zoom that in for you, because there's blue blobs on other boards also. These are tantalum caps. They're going to get replaced with WEMAs, and that's the only board you're going to change transistors on. The rest of them, the transistors should be good. They don't require changing, but the caps do, and you can see that there's blue blobs, tantalum caps. We call them blue blobs, and they have a tendency to explode. WEMAs don't explode. So, but you can see also too that those have polarity lines. With the WEMAs, it's not going to matter. And if I'll show you a close-up later. If you look at them, they actually will have the UF ratings on them in very, very tiny print. Okay, thanks. Okay, so as you can see, I've recapped one of the boards, and I just wanted to show you that. It's got a couple electrolytics and some of the WEMAs that replaced the blue blobs. And I put them all, it actually went very quickly and helps with the desoldering gun. But I wanted to show you the underside. Flip this over, not hit the camera. And let's just look at that for a minute. That is this board here. And you can see the legs sticking up. I've put them all in so I can solder it all. As I had mentioned in a prior video, it's a lot easier to solder from the top down than sideways, just gravity. So they're all in place, and I've verified all the values and everything. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so here's the bottom of the board soldered. And now, as I said, since we've finished a board, I'll go into test mode and then move on to the next one. Show you that one. Okay. Okay, so I have done all the tuner boards and the phono board, and now the last tuner board to do is the one that has the dial string attached. And some people just skip that one because it's very tight, it's more difficult to get to, and you have to remove the tuner string to get it, unscrew the thing to get below the board. But it's really not as bad as you think. It just takes a little forethought. And I'm going to show you how you can do this without messing up your tuner string. So on the left here, and I'm going to go back and zoom in a little bit, you have two screws that hold this on, almost like lock nuts, yeah. And I've made a little mark here so we know it goes on the same way. But the thing is, if you just take this off by itself, everything's going to come loose and you might misadjust things. So the way you do this is with, I'm going to zoom out, it's with blue tape. What you do, and I'm going to take a piece of tape, I'm going to bring this back so you can see, is first I'm going to take a little bit of blue tape and I'm going to tape down the string to this wheel here so it doesn't move. And I'm going to tape down the other one and use the blue tape because it's easy to take off. And I'm actually going to put a piece underneath. Okay, so now that's not going to come out of place. All right, now on the tuner wheel itself, what you want to do is put it around. You got to still be able to get to the screws, but you want to put it on here, and I'm going to put a little piece, if I can get this torn, right here. So that way, when you take this off, you'll just be able to set it aside, unscrew the board, flip it up, and you'll be able to work on it. The other thing I wanted to point out is take good pictures. I'm going to show you in a close-up of the wires that go to the posts in the back. And the reason is when you flip this up and move it around, they're very brittle. And sometimes they will break and you'll have to solder them back on. Not a big deal, but if you don't know which goes where, and most of them are pretty easy because they'll only reach to that post. But again, like anything, take pictures, take notes, whatever. And as you can see, if I can again zoom in, very tight fit for some of this stuff in this area here. We've got a transistor here. but the electrolytics, the capacitors and stuff, some of them are going to get replaced. There's a little blue blob there. Some of them are going to get replaced with WEMAs. So space is at a premium. And as I said, it is probably the most difficult board to work on. Even more difficult than the power amplifier, which we are going to work on in another video. Okay. So I am going to unscrew those, take that off and show you. Okay, so I have loosened the two screws, the two lock screws, and you see I can take that right off. And see, because I'm got it taped down, it's not going to go anywhere. I see it's trying to move over here, so I'm going to put another little tape on these. This is good the way it is. And we're just going to move that a little bit out of the way. So now taking off the board, I'm going to use my screwdriver. And you have one screw here that holds down the cable. It gets in the way a little bit. All that does is holds down the cable for the, and you can take this off. You can undo it. It's just like a little wire wrap. There we go. It's out of the way now. And you can move this out of the way. So now we'll take the screw, show you on the camera. And take that off. And now we'll take this screw. Keep my hands out of the way so you can actually see. This screw, and as I said, this is a very tight board. And the last screw is here. Sorry for my hands being in the way, it just makes it quicker. Okay, so the 4 screws are out, they're set aside, and now you will see you can get this board up, but not easily. It's underneath, there's some wires that you can pull a little closer, but you can get under there. I'm really not going to show that because there's no way I can do it on camera and everything. But I will show you where the spots are. So let's come on close and show you what we're actually going to work on. Okay, I just wanted to show you it. I decided, you know, it was easier for me and probably would be easier for you if you clip the black and the blue wires off the 2 posts there, because then you can actually get underneath the board where you need to be. And it doesn't harm anything. It's very easy to solder those back in place. But now when I have to get to these pieces, I can desolder them pretty easy compared with trying to do it and balance and everything. Okay, so I'll show you when we get this done. Okay, so the tuner board here has been completed. It was not easy, but you know, you saw I had disconnected the wires so that I could flip it over. You want to be very careful on the back of that board. The solder pads are very close together, so pay close attention to the pathways where they either join or don't join. You don't want to put solder and wind up connecting to things you don't need to. So now I'm going to show you how to put the dial string back on and get it back, because we had taped it and everything. I'm going to take the dial string, which has gotten a little loose on the pulleys, and it's going to go on exactly the way it came off. give it a little tug, and we're gonna get it on there. Is there a slide? No. Okay. It's fairly tight. I'm gonna break it. I might have these screws still sticking out. No. Get it where I need it, and you can see the lines lined up there. So we haven't changed any positioning. Okay, I'm gonna lay it back down again. And we'll get a close-up on this. Okay, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel the tape off. And get that off there. The blue tape comes off nice. A little piece still there. And I'll probably just edit out some of this. And showing you here, taking the tape off. It's very tight right now. That's because the tape's there and it's back on its wheel. But you could see where this would make a big difference in saving your positioning and not having this fall off. Now, does it work? Oh yeah. There we go, gyro touch. And it got hung up here because it was not in the right place. There we go. Goes all the way to the end. Goes all the way to the end. Now, if you'll notice, I didn't put that screw in there. And I'm gonna do that. But I wanted to make sure everything was lined up first before we put the last screw and tie that in. I don't need to show you that on camera. I think you guys can handle a screw. Okay, tuner boards are complete. Phono board is complete. Dolby board is complete. And so for the next video, we're going to move on to the power amp board and the main caps. And that'll be in another video. What I will do in between is the typical testing. I'll put it on a dim bulb tester. That all turns out good. Then I'll add the speakers and make sure, you know, I get AM, FM and everything works the way it's supposed to before I move on. Because again, as I've mentioned before, you don't move on until you make sure everything's working okay. Well, thanks for watching the video, and I hope this was helpful, especially with the nasty board there. And thanks.